What did I just read?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome, everybody, to What Did I Just Read? I'm Holly.
And I'm LA.
And we're sad.
Are you sad or you
I
just
don't know.
struggle
I'm not,
bus?
no, I'm that is like that's the saying. I'm struggling and I'm in a complete slump.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm my heart is a little warmed to hear that you are as well. Because we were supposed to record on two other books the past
Yeah.
couple of weeks. Neither one of us have read it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're tired. Well, I'm tired.
I think starting my reading journey and like listening to talkers or other podcasts or listening to booktubes and everybody else that is kind of in the bookish community,
Hmm.
every now and then they get into, I guess what we term like a slump, right?
Yeah.
And we have like life slumps, I guess, but I've never really experienced a reading slump before. And so I kind of wanted to know or talk about maybe why we got into a reading slump and maybe some things to get us out of it or get us excited about something or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's a whole combination of things going on for me personally. For I guess maybe I should talk about like how I'm feeling about reading right now. It's
Yeah.
just that I can't get into anything. I've started multiple books, which is not like me. For me, it's usually I start a book and I finish that book. I'm not
Mhm.
really a multiple book reader at a time. If I'm reading multiple books, it's because I'm physically reading a book and I'm listening to an audio book or I'm reading another story with my kids. It's not usually I'm reading multiple physical books at a time. And that's what is happening right now. I have multiple physical books that I've started and I have put down because I'm so uninterested in all of them.
Yeah. For me, I have 6 books that I'm in the middle of, so I'm in the same situation as you. And they're just sitting on my nightstand because they're all, physical books. And
Hmm.
I look at the stack and I get a little intimidated and
Yeah.
I go
Or
on my
I have
phone.
exactly. Or I have made these random commitments to people. Hey, let's read this book together. When I was
Hmm.
not in a book slump and I could crush these books in like a week or two, along with these
Yeah.
other books that I was reading at the time. And now I think about these books that I've committed to buddy read with these other friends, and I just think I can't do it.
Yeah. Are you a mood reader at all?
What do you mean by mood reader?
Ah, good question. So sometimes people are like, I guess it's called like seasonal readers. So they'll read like more horror in the fall and more like fantasy in the spring and kind of like, more like wintry books
Yeah.
during the winter and summer books
I
during the
mean,
summer.
yeah, I would definitely fall within that category for sure. But I also have like my typical standbys. Like I love my sapphic novels, which I constantly will pick up. And I think maybe if I picked up one of those, I'd be more interested. But I'm just, even then, I'm still, yeah, I can't even remember your question right now. That is where my head is
No,
at. So
no.
you're
So
asking if
there's,
I'm an emotional reader, but I'm also, but
mm,
I have found myself like emotionally, I have started a new job and I am
yay.
busy. I know, yay. It's fun and it's fulfilling and I'm really enjoying it. At the same time, I'm also like full-time caregiver for my family, which you are too, and just finding the
Yeah.
balance of caring for my family along with doing a day job. It's really difficult. And then slipping in reading into the mix, woof, exhausting.
Yeah, it seems more like it's and like work rather than something that's my husband comes home every day and how he dewinds is he puts on a television show and
Hmm.
that's like mind numbing for him.
Yeah.
For me, it's escaping. right? Like it's going
Mhm.
in and like getting lost and just that's how I get out of my current thought processes.
Yeah.
But I'm so tired that like I'm not even thinking.
Yeah, it's like this double I don't know, it's like where your brain is on 2 platforms. I'm I am literally reading the words on the page, and I know my brain is reading the words, and yet it is suddenly floating off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Have you experienced like, that is what's happening every time I'm picking up a book.
Yeah. I think it's a type of slump, but it's so I've gotten into a slump before where I've read such a great book. Like I got into a slump after Fourth Wing, I think, and
Oh,
Iron
yeah.
Flame. Yeah, and I was like nothing else was really that emotionally provoking, was really
Mhm.
that entertaining, like a page turnery type book. Like I was investing my time in all of that. This slump is just I'm so uninterested in reading, which is the funniest thing because me and you talk about books every day, all day. 100 we're still talking about books. Though
I
we're talking
still send you text messages about, like, books. That is one of my main complaints about this book slump is I'm still looking for books. I'm
Yeah.
still adding books to my TBR, to my to be read list,
Yeah.
while I physically and mentally cannot consume them.
Yeah.
What
Well,
is
you're
wrong with my
collecting.
brain? What's wrong with
Well,
my brain? I'm such a collector.
yeah. Yeah. 'Cause that's exactly what you're doing is you're fulfilling that you get like a little bit euphoria when you go and purchase something.
Or,
Like when
like
you start shopping.
or you found that book that just speaks to you, but not right now,
Hmm.
like future you, and you're like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm gonna read that later." And you
Hmm.
have no idea when later will be.
No. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
no.
And of course your interests change and then, you read the cover 2 months later, 3 months, the dust jacket, the little blurb inside, and you're like,
Mhm.
what was I
Why is this
thinking?
still on my Kindle? Let's take this off and add something else to my Kindle Unlimited. Um, what do
Well,
you
so
I
yeah,
was gonna ask
what gets you out? What gets you
what
out
gets
of
me out of my
slumps?
slump?
Yeah.
Usually I need something funny and just completely trashy to get me out of my
Okay.
slump, usually, is
Okay.
what helps me. So, it's like,
Okay.
whatever's in my comfort zone. So, last week, what I was reading I actually LA, I reread some books last week, and I didn't tell you about it.
Why?
I reread 2 books.
Why?
I don't know. I put everything aside, and last week, I reread some comfort reads that I really needed to give my brain some, like, mental pats, like a big ol' hug. Some things
Yeah.
that sent my dopamine, like, crazy, you know? That's what I needed,
Yeah.
some hugs.
Well, so that what are your comfort reads then? Like what did you grab?
Angsty sapphic reads
Ro-
is
Can
what I
I just say I could have guessed that?
So, I think I told you about Meeting Millie.
Hmm.
Where yeah, so it's, like, set in Oxford, and it's a friends to lovers sapphic novel, and it's so sweet, it's so heartwarming, it's so angsty, and god, do I love that book. So I reread that, but before I reread that, the the sequel to that series came out, so I read that, and then I was like, "I haven't read Meeting Millie for, like, a year, let's just read that again to see how that was like." That felt good to read, and then after I reread that, I reread the book that I had read 2 days ago, Tempting Olivia by Claire Ashton. And it was such a comfort. It felt so good. It felt like reading something for myself, which I do think I always do read for myself. At least I
Yeah.
try to. But it just felt so good and comforting. And I think that's what I need to get back to when I'm in a slump is just read what I find to be comfortable, to
Comforting.
be heartwarming, just to give me all the feels, to put me back in that headspace, you know?
Hmm.
Back in the worlds that I really enjoy.
Yeah. I usually what puts me back is when I crush a book, right? Like I go
Mhm.
through, I get it off my list. I'm like, glad I read it, didn't glad I read it, whatever. I've been traveling a lot over the past week and a half, so I've
Mhm.
been relying a ton on audiobooks. And
Okay.
because I'm so tired from traveling and I'm just like listening to audiobooks, I'm not physically reading anymore. So I went and I listened to so I'm also part of three book clubs. And so what's happening is I'm listening. I know it's awful.
I don't know how you
So
do it. Book clubs stress me the fuck out. Being assigned a book, I don't know if I have a defiant syndrome, but being assigned a book, I'm like, "Oh no, that's too much. That's too far." Even
yeah,
though I might want to read that book, I'm still
yeah,
like, "Ooh, I don't know anymore." So I don't know
I
how you do
know.
it being a part of 3.
Well, because I think what I look forward to is because so I work from home and I'm inside my house all the time and I
Yeah.
don't interface with people a lot. And one of
Mhm.
my favorite things that I did when I was in college was talk about what you read and to figure out how it impacted you and what the themes were in the book and what you could relate with and what the author's overall message was. And I view books and literature as art. And I love
Mhm.
to see people, whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction, to be affected by that art, right?
Yeah.
And I go to a romance book club, which is the funnest thing. I look forward to it every single month. I purchased the ticket like way in advance, and it is the time of my life. I My jaw hurts from smiling and
Ugh,
laughing
I love
so
that.
much.
So
Oh,
jealous.
we talked about Butcher and Blackbird at the last one. Mm-hmm. It was fan We talked about genital piercings for a solid 15 minutes. I mean,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
it
mhm,
was fantastic. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is I go to all these book clubs and I think that I've been listening to these audiobooks so I could
mhm.
either finish the book for the book club or just I don't even know. I can't not listen to an audiobook now. I just keep listening to them. And I don't think I'm retaining anything.
That is some of the yeah, that's hard with audiobooks sometimes, is the retention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and especially when they're awful. It's awful. But then, so here's the thing though.
Mm,
As I'm reading these terrible books, then did I tell you I listened to The Women by
I
Kristen.
saw that you were reading that. How was it? You enjoy it?
I cried. So I listened to this audiobook that I was driving home from Dallas weeping. Like it was
Yeah.
just so good. And then I got
Mhm.
home and I saw six books that I'm in the middle of next to my bedstand. And I'm like, no,
I mean,
I'm going
after
to play
that, like, how
Legos.
can you pick that up? Yeah.
I want fun. In such a weird,
I know. I am in such a weird space too, because in February, honest to God, I read and listened to 28 books.
you're
Um,
burnt out. You're no, 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 no.
this month, I'm halfway through March, and I'm lucky if I've hit 5 right now.
Yeah, I think you're just burnt out.
I'm tired, and I feel like all the books I've picked up, I'm just like, "Ugh," I'm not into it all, so I need to find something that I love, and it's right up my alley, and I
Yeah,
feel like I might need to dump some of my responsibilities towards books. My quote unquote responsibilities. I think that
yeah,
has meant some for this podcast.
yeah. I know we were talking before and we were going to talk about a book that
Mhm.
both of us did not finish because we're not enjoying it. We're not gonna slander this book, but
No,
because we haven't finished it.
I think we might be taking it off the list.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
We wanted something different. I don't know what's happening this year, but me and you were talking about, we try to talk about new release books that people are
Mhm.
excited for, either from authors that you've read before or whatever. And
Yeah.
we were talking in January, and it was so hard to find some that we were both looking
Excited
forward to.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
I
even
don't know why.
yeah, I don't know why either. I feel that this has not really been an issue for us. I think it's been in the past, it's been an issue of editing the books that we really wanted to read.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're struggling to find those hot books for us.
And we want to read a pirate book and we want to read more vampire books and we want to read more books by BIPOC authors and we want to read more books written by transgender authors. We want to read everything, but
Yeah.
we're just not finding it. So are we not looking in the right
I'm
how do you
wondering
find books? Where do
I'm
you go? What do you do?
I'm wondering if both of us are suffering from reading too many books within a genre.
You think we're romanced out?
I wonder if we might a little bit be. Are we a little jaded?
Should we switch things up? Is this our announcement that we didn't even know?
I don't know. No, because I think romance is always going to be my happy place. That's going to
Same.
be where I will constantly land. If I'm feeling sad, I will pick up a romance book. If I'm feeling anxious, romance book. If I'm feeling happy, romance book. That is where I want to be. That's my happy place. But
Chef's kiss.
I'm also happy in like other genres, but romance is just you get that heady feeling, that lovey-dovey, like it's just I love it.
Same.
So I don't think I will ever be done with romance. I think maybe where I've become a little cynical towards it.
Yeah,
And I feel like every time I
for
pick
me.
up a romance, I think I've read this before. I know what's going to happen. I know the next line.
Like it's become predictable. There's not a lot of,
Yeah.
I think, I've seen that with people that have read thrillers and mysteries.
Oh, totally. And you know what? I was a huge thriller reader before I started my romance
Oh,
journey, and I felt the
yeah.
same way. It's
Because
hard
you
to
could
come up
figure
with a
out
new figure out the plot.
they all have a template. I
Yeah.
think that's what you used the other day is with Anna Wong books is that she has like a template that she writes in, right?
Yeah.
And they just get redundant and it's, well, her
Yeah.
books in general, I don't think you like, but
I mean, no. I mean, but I for romance it's always about finding that what's the word I'm looking for? It's always finding that gem, that jewel,
mm-hmm.
that
Je ne sais
one
quoi.
yeah, that one that's going to stand out from the rest.
Mm.
And I think that's what we're
I
searching for in romance right now. We're having a
think
hard
it's
time finding
becoming,
it.
yeah, because I think it's becoming more rare because we've read so much.
We're deep in the genre now.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
gotta, we gotta, we gotta pivot, do something else.
Yeah.
I bet you if Zach was listening to this, he's gonna be like, well, there's this book that you guys said they're
I can
reading.
already hear him in the back of my head. Because just yesterday I told him, like, I'm in such a slump. I don't know what to do. I hate everything I'm literally picking up to read. And I love my husband so much because you know what he did? My husband, he's such
What?
a fixer, which is also like a pressure point in our relationship. But he's just like, I have some books for you to read. Hold on. And he went on his phone and he scanned the last few books that he like read on Audible. You need to read this, and you need to read this, and you need to read this fantasy because he knows I like fantasy, has a love story, a romance in it that I think that you will really enjoy.
He's amazing.
So I got to give him credit where credit's due.
That's awesome. You're like that with me. So, because I get book porn from you all the time. What did you send me yesterday? The milking one?
I don't. I didn't find that. You know who found that for me?
Who?
Alice. Alice found that for me. She goes, I think I like covering my face because people are judging me because of this podcast, but they're not wrong. She oh my god. She sends me this Facebook message of this girl on TikTok reading this book, just reacting to it. She goes, I think this might be up your alley. And I'm just like, what do you mean? And I watch it, I'm like,
Yep.
fuck yeah, this is like but no, it's about a girl who is struggling to survive, to make money. She goes to milk minotaurs. That's a bull, not a cow. LA.
Yeah.
Maybe this is our next read. I think
Oh,
this might be
stop
what
it.
we need. Milking the Minotaur.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Okay. Because we had a heavy read last time talking about parental death, losing hearing. I think we need milking a Minotaur. I'm just saying. It. Would it hurt? Not a
No, we haven't.
Minotaur.
Well, so it's been a year. It's been a year since we started this podcast.
I know.
I think we should go back to a Buku Banana
Do we
Pants.
need to go back to our roots?
I think we need to. Yeah.
Maybe
We need to go
that's what
back.
we've needed this whole time.
Or do the Shrek one. Get in my swamp.
Mhm,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
mhm, mhm,
No.
mhm. No. Okay. Well, I have
Did I
other
tell you?
options.
Oh, I have one too because it's being passed around with
Is it
some of my
about a sentient
girlfriends.
pillow?
It's about the coronavirus.
Did I tell you about I thought I told you about that one
No,
where the
no.
coronavirus ends up sentient and
Yes,
then the
yes,
vaccine ends up sentient
yes.
and there's a threesome with a girl. What's happening?
And then there's the doorknob
LA,
one, the
LA.
unhinged one.
Mm. Okay, LA. I have to confront you on this because you said it like pretty much at the beginning of this episode where you thought writing is an art.
Yeah, it is. Shut the fuck up. But it
I'm
is.
about to pee my pants. I can't.
It is. How creative of I need to tell you a story.
Okay,
How
tell me.
creative are you? Like, but in my mind, I'm like, that's pretty fucking creative to think like a doorknob could be sentient and like, bone you or like
I mean, it was made
Clippy.
first of all, Alice in Wonderland, so excuse you.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. What are we talking about?
So we started with we're both in a slump
hmm
and the reasons why we're in a slump.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Here's my end message of this whole episode is that I think it's a great thing that we're in a slump because sometimes it means that your life is so full that you don't necessarily need the escapism that we find sometimes and that we're building
Yeah.
our own stories.
And I'm not too terribly sad. I'm in a book slump. I'm happy that I have a fulfilling life that's filling up the pages that I was reading before. I've put myself in a busier situation to be a little bit more fulfilled day to day. And I think I really needed that.
I don't think you knew you needed it and then you got it. And
Yeah.
then it was like, yeah, you look lighter, which is like,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
You
it's
know how
good.
I knew that I also was doing, I don't know if doing right, doing good. So March 1st is International Women's Day. It's also the Mother's Day, basically, in Europe. And
Hmm.
so at my children's school here in Bucharest, Romania, they're celebrating Mother's Day. And my son comes home with it's like a bunch of grapes that he has written on each grape what he's thankful for. And one of the grapes was that he's thankful that I'm working at his school. And he was just so happy about that. And I was just like, that's so touching.
Oh.
It's such a little, it feels like a little thing to me. It's just like me trying to do more, trying to put myself out there more. And for him, you're closer to me. I feel like you're in the same space as me, and that makes me happy.
hmm
And so that makes me happy.
Yeah. I love that. It makes me a
Yeah.
little teary. I got to work with my mom for years.
Oh.
Hearing that brings me joy to hear because it's like it's your actions have ripple effects and you just don't always see them. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah,
I
but when you
didn't
do, it's
realize
nice.
how much he cared that I was working at the school.
Oh, you have amazing kids, but they have a
I do.
fantastic mama.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So we
We need
talked
a
about slumps. Yeah.
Yeah,
What do we do?
let's just, yeah, to summarize. So we're both in these weird, extreme book slumps where we can't find what we want to read. Nothing is really sinking in. So my strategy is just to find is to go back to what I like, because right now, I don't think I'm really truly reading what I like. I'm reading what I will pick up on the periphery of what I like, but
Yeah.
not specifically like the genre and within the subgenre, the subgenre, of what I like to
Yeah.
read. And I think that's kind of what I need to go back to for a little bit.
Okay.
What about
I like
you?
it.
How do you think you'll get out of this book slump?
I think I need feedback. I think for apparently we have a lot of listeners.
We do
So
now.
it's so
Hello.
crazy. It's so crazy. I would love to know like a couple of things like from y'all. I think that the people that listen to us, I would love to know how you deal with a book slump or like what's something that you read recently that was so profound and why. And I think that
Or okay,
yeah,
pushback.
yeah. Yeah.
Not fucking profound at all.
Yeah, just like trash, but you ate it up. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
too, that too.
Yeah. That's what I meant, Holly.
Is it LA?
It's pretty profound. Um,
Like
um,
milking the minotaur?
oh God, what is with you? Or maybe like a fun challenge. Like I love my little challenges and I think that I've done them for a few years and I need
Mhm.
something new. Like my bookstore has a bingo book card, which I think is like super fun. So maybe if you guys have, something fun to do, then let us know. I think I want to hear from y'all. I want to know what should we do?
Yeah,
Where should we go? What books are but also what books are coming out that we are just
that we're
unawares
missing
of?
on that we need to cover. And
Yeah.
I'll put it up on our Instagram, DM us, email us, whatever, to help us get out
Yeah.
of this. We have some
Yeah.
books on the docket. I don't even know if I wanna announce it because I don't know LA. I don't know
No.
what we're gonna do because we've been so volatile with our picks. That is one of the reasons why we have not posted on Instagram what we're going to read next because it's been
Yeah.
almost episode to episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're on this roller coaster, girl. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't because it depends on what we hear back too. Maybe we find something from one of y'all and we're like, all right, we got to.
This we gotta read.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's so funny how we're in a book slump and me and you have talked about books for about an hour.
I know. It's bananas.
I love us. We're
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
All right. Cheers to
Cheers
the
to
next
the
time.
next read.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. What did we just read?